Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Time Out podcast. It's your girl, Simi, and I'm back like I never left. Today, I'm joined by the amazing, luxurious. If you're a Black woman in sports, you definitely are looking up to her in the industry. You're probably rocking her apparel as well. Yes. So I've got Kelli here with me. Is that the chain?
Yes, it is.
I knew it. I was literally on your website. I added everything to my cart, and I was like, yes. Getting. Oh my gosh! But like, I think my favorite shirt was future like team owner, future executive.
Those are so much fun because you might not be there yet, but I want you to speak it into existence. I need you to do that.
Manifesting, using it as a point of contact.
So you can go back and be like, remember when I bought this? And now I'm here. Like,
and now it's not future. I just put some black tape on it and be like, yeah, I'm a team owner now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was so amazing. So like, how did you come up with like the name and like the brand and just like everything behind the apparel line?
So the name, I'm not gonna lie, I could not think of a name for this at all. And I was just like, I don't want to do anything too cliche or too corny. And then I just happened to see like a little cartoon, and it was a little girl holding a basketball, and the little boy was making this face at her, telling her she played like a girl.
You play ball like a girl!
And I was like, oh, that's it.
That's it. That's literally it. Because like it's not even so offensive or anything. Like it's true. Like, yeah, I do. And so what about it?
It was one of those, because I'm reading it and I'm like, ew, why is he making this face? And then I was like, oh my God, that's the name, Play Like a Girl. And now it's everywhere. And I'm just like, I kind of feel like I was a little piece of the forefront of Play Like a Girl because you didn't really hear it too often.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's my pride and joy. I absolutely love everything about it because at one point I felt like we as women in sports, we didn't have a brand for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no shade to any other profession because I love that everyone has their own brand. But
Yeah.
I never saw anything for us. I would see social worker, nurse, therapist, you name it. You name it! God name it! I saw it and I was just like, well, dang. What are we? Like, do we not exist? Like, I know so many women in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the industry, you know, we love a good t-shirt. We love a sweatshirt. We love a hat. Like
any apparel that we can wear to work and it's like formal.
Yes, we love like a casual shirt. You can still wear it with a blazer or a sweater and still go in and be fine.
Exactly.
So it was one of those, like, it was just a light bulb. I remember wanting one and I asked my cousin one day because she actually has her own apparel line and she was like, well, I can either make you your shirt or I could teach you how to do it and you can sell your own. So it was one of those. I did that. I prayed over it, and Play Like a Girl is a year old.
God said, go off. Let's sell
it. He was like, I'm going to give you the resources. You just got to do everything else. And that's why I'm still here.
I love when he does that.
It's also very scary when he does it too, because you're like, are you sure? Me? You trust me? You sure?
I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna pray and fast for one more week just to clarify.
Yes, and that's be like, you sure? Okay, all right.
It is so funny, but yeah, the merch was amazing. I literally recognized the necklace as soon as
I loved it, and you know what? I was so nervous about these necklaces. I was just like, I know I love a good necklace, but do other people? So that excites me to see it.
I saw that you've been working in events for a while now, in Dallas, I believe.
Yes.
Dallas and in New Jersey, MetLife Stadium.
Yes.
Correct? Yes. So I did a bit of like live events. Well, actually, that's what my background's in. I worked on live events up until, COVID, and now we here in Canada don't have any live events. So I made a bit of a transition into like admin, like full-time admin and like operations, but like more behind the scenes. Okay. But in terms of like your own personal experiences with live events, like what have been your favorite events to work at?
I would definitely have to say the first night of the On the Run Tour 2 for us at MetLife Stadium. And the crazy thing is I was dreading that entire week because it's Jay-Z and Beyonce. Beyonce. I don't know if you're even going to be able to walk down the tunnel one day at work.
Yeah.
It's them. You might run into their entourage. You have to be mindful of their space.
That's true.
And their sound checks are closed. Like, we had to be in the office. Nobody could be around the dome. So it's a lot of stressful stuff that came with it. And then on top of that, lightning. Second night was perfect. But that first night, I was like, this is stressful, but I'm learning so much. And like, I can reflect back and be like, that was really one of my favorites.
Yeah, I always think about all the things that in the moment I felt like was going wrong. I was like, I actually learned so much from it. And like,
you do. And I think that's where a lot of people mix up learning when something goes wrong. No, every time something goes wrong, I make mental notes of stuff because I'm like, all right, so for future reference, that can't happen again. And you get to brief it, especially the team that I was with at MetLife Stadium. So ironically enough, nothing but women. My department and the guest services department, nothing but women. Ran by 2 women.
All women.
All women. We had a name for it. It was like a feng shui is what we called it. we called it our little feng shui. And every night, especially after that, we debriefed everything. And just knowing that there were so many women in that position and how we were able to figure it out, it really set a standard. So now they kind of have a different way of moving. And now when we move forward or move on from the stadium, we can take that knowledge with us.
Exactly. I love all women teams.
I do too. It was the first time seeing it. I mean, ironically enough, in my entire career in sports, all of my superiors have been women. I think I've been very fortunate in that matter. I've never worked for a man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever work for a man. I don't know because I'm so spoiled.
It really depends on his views.
It will depend a lot on the views. I also feel like I learned the most from women because we are a little bit harder on each other, but I think it's because we want to make sure that we have tough skin.
Yeah, because if we definitely know that if it was like a man that was like see this mistake, like he could definitely use it as an excuse to like say like you're not cut up for the job, like you're not experienced enough, like you don't deserve to be here. So I know like definitely put ourselves in check a lot, and like sometimes it hurts in the beginning, but it's obviously coming from a good place and for a good reason.
And that's where you have to realize, like you'll be able to tell if it's genuine or if they're just borderline bitter. Really.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, okay, this is something I've been thinking about with a friend of mine recently. So I have been hopping in and out of the sports industry, obviously in capacities because like I started when I was like in grade 10, so back in 2014. So that was 2021. So I'm working more in a bigger capacity, of course, now, and with more people. But this is just a realization I had this year. When you have those initial like realizations and it's kind of like in your head and you're like, I don't know if I should voice this to someone because it might seem crazy. Like maybe it's just like a personal thing. Like I shouldn't say this out loud to anyone ever because they'll just think I'm making
crazy. But half the time you're not. Trust me.
Like so, my realization was it was a concern. It was a bit of a question, but I was thinking. So the sports industry is very very large, but also very small at the same time because like everyone knows each other. Like everyone's like one person away from knowing each other.
True.
So I was thinking, very, women in sports, all about that life. And then I noticed that there was I don't want to say competition, but I just noticed this like, how when you see something, you're like, oh,
like okay.
What was that? Maybe it's me. I'm reading too much into this. Maybe I'm just emotional because that's how I'm fun. Let me go about my business. But I saw in an article that you did talk about a bit of like unconscious competition. So I brought this up to a friend of mine who also worked in the industry, and she said, yes, it's very true. We both couldn't figure out why like it existed, but I just saw that you wrote about it. So like when did you notice it?
I noticed it immediately. And it's one of those like, why are we in competition? Like, and when it, like you said, when it clicks, you're like, wait a minute,
there's no
way happening.
I'm just crazy.
And for me, because when I started out, there was a group of us, and then my superior was a woman, and I had noticed whatever the girl did that was working alongside with me, it was extremely shady. And I am that person. If I think it's on my face, I really have to learn how to have a poker face.
Me too.
So whatever happened, it was on my face, and there was another girl who worked alongside with me, but she was a little more seasoned in the game. And she pulled me aside and she said, I need you to calm down because you look like you're going to wring this girl's neck.
Well, yeah.
I don't understand why it was necessary. Like, we are in the same position. Like, why would you do that? And that's when she explained to me, she said, you're going to see that a lot. Mind you, again, it's my first year in sports. I have no idea. I'm just excited to be a woman on the job. I'm just excited to be here. Like, really.
Thank you for having me. I'm ready to
Right. And she was like, you're going to see it a lot. She was like, do not let it bother you. She said, and pay it no attention. She said, you're going to see unconscious competition. She said, it makes no sense. But when I thought about it, I said, we're really in unconscious competition because we're in a male dominated field. So we're all fighting for a chance to be that one woman.
Yeah.
But in actuality, there's so many of us. If we really wanted to take over sports, we really could. And we have to stop worrying about the competition because they're your fellow colleague. No matter if you work for the NFL, hockey, soccer, we are all in this together. Of course, you have the women that will never separate it, and that's fine. Leave them where they are. Never, I always say never badmouth any woman in the industry, no matter how much they get on your nerves, no matter how much they've done terrible things to you, because you don't want that to come back to you, and then you look bitter.
Yeah, it'll come back. It'll definitely come back.
100% comes back.
Yeah.
So I just never, and I still don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. But when you really sit back and you think about it and you're in the league and you're going through all of this stuff, we're really all fighting for the same opportunities and the same chance. And it's one of those, like, if just one of us gets it, we can all lift each other up like a ladder.
Exactly.
And I think that's how a lot of us are now looking at it, because we're really paying attention to, this woman did it, I know I can do it. Let me help my fellow sister in this industry, and let's all win. Or at least that's the point of view I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if I can help any woman, whether they're above me, below me, still in college, in high school, I'm taking that opportunity to help them. Because you're not going to get every woman to do that.
You're not. You're definitely not. I thank God I haven't experienced it directly with any of the women that, like, I currently work with. My current, like, supervisor and manager are women. I've been with them, like, kind of like since I started, like, on and off. I noticed it once when I was in university doing one of my university level, like, sports jobs, and I just thought, like, I took it personally. Like, I just thought it was me. Like, I didn't think
You're like,
it was my tone. I thought it was something I said. I said, is it because I didn't say hi to you when I saw you on the street yesterday? Like, I'm so sorry.
It's one of those, I hate to go this route, but when you're Black, you immediately think, like, are you doing it?
Is it because I'm Black?
And you try not to say it, but I can't help it. Like, is it because I'm Black? Like, wait a minute. That's where I went the first time it happened, because she was Caucasian and I was Black. And the one who pulled me aside was Black. And she was like, trust me, it has nothing to do with you being Black. And then she reminded me that some women will say they're, quote unquote, intimidated by you, and the reason will be because you're Black.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was because I was Black at first, because, like, I saw her, she was already kind of, like, doing, like, all these other, like, sports related things in the school, so I kind of, like, went to her for advice. So she sort of helped me get in.
Okay.
And then once we got to a certain point, not that I was surpassing her, but I guess she had always been the only one, right? So now it's like other people in our circle are starting to see, like, my potential and my interest, and, like, I'm being given opportunities. And then there was just, like, a bit of, like, petty comments here and there, and, like, I'm not doing things the way she wanted to do it. I just thought it was because I was Black. And
I was like, is that necessary?
Yeah, and I was, like, watching how she handled the situation with other women, and I was like, but I brushed it aside because I was like, there's no way. I mean, there's only so many of us in sports, like.
Right, and again, you have to be mindful of this stuff, because what she did to you, you could mention that to another person that ends up working with her, and they will look at her so sideways.
Yeah.
You have to be mindful of that stuff. I'm not saying keep it to yourself. Like, if you feel like it's really going to be a problem, maybe warn a person, but also let them form their own point of view.
Yeah, but I saw you're part of Forbes, the culture, the community. And I just wanted to know if you could maybe share a bit more about what it is. This was the first time I heard about it.
Cool.
Yeah, this is the first time I heard about it. I was thinking it was, like, a part of, like, Forbes 30 under 30 segment.
So you are an affiliate of 30 under 30 as well.
Okay.
So Forbes the Culture is almost everything that you think it is. It is a subdivision of Forbes specifically for people of color. And it gives them the chance to spotlight their business, their careers, to network and connect with one another.
Yeah, I realize a lot of folks that are working in sports, like they work in sports, but then they also have like another side of them where it's like nonprofit or like apparel or music or just something on the side that's like totally like outside of the sports industry.
It keeps us going. It really keeps us going.
Like something related.
It's also one of those, a lot of people who aren't in the sports industry, they just assume we're all making like $1 million a year.
I mean,
no.
I wasn't going to tell you,
but for an athlete, that's different. But us in corporate sports and behind the scenes, absolutely not.
You got multiple jobs.
Exactly. Multiple jobs. A lot of them have their own businesses. I don't know where the correlation of, oh, you work in sports, so you must be making 6 figures at minimum.
Who's going to tell them? Who is going to tell them?
I wish they would stop saying that. I spoke to, I did like a guest lecture for my undergrad school last week, and one of them asked, they were like, not to, get in your business, but how is the salary? And I laughed, and I think I genuinely confused them. I was just like, if you are getting into sports off the pretense of you're going to make 6 figures, I need you to wake up now. Unless you are throwing a football, hitting a baseball, dribbling a basketball, whatever sport it is, you're not stepping into 6 figures at all. It is humble beginnings here. When I started as an athletic training major in college, when I switched to sport management, the look of sheer horror on my mother's face.
What?
She was like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Because a lot of people don't know the business side of sports besides playing. She's like, are you going to be an agent? Are you going to manage an athlete? Like, she was terrified. She didn't know what I was going to do. And I was just like, Mommy, I will find out.
God will provide. God will provide. I
was like, I will find out when I start taking these classes. Like, I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer. So that was out the window. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, you never know. So when I got my first job with the Jets, she was even more horrified.
What? It was so funny because so my friend's brother that's going into university, so I was asking him, like, what programs are you looking into? What are you looking to do? And he's like, I think I'm gonna work in sports. I'm looking into some sports programs because I read they make like 6 figures, and I see that you're always working and you love your job. And I was like, baby, you need to sit down. Let me talk to you first of all.
Let's have a moment here. Let's have a heart to heart.
Let's put your pencils down. Don't pay. Don't do the transaction yet. Don't apply for the program.
And it's one of those like, oh, I wish somebody would have told me that. Do I think I'd still be working in sports? Probably.
Yeah.
But I wish someone would have prepared me for my first job in sports being like $9 an hour.
Someone had told me.
I'd have been like, let's rethink this for a second.
Because I was like, I knew when I realized I was doing it for free that I liked it enough to like, okay, might as well get paid. But it was even like, I've slowly spoken to like managers for teams and leagues, and they're like, yeah, you have to love the job. It doesn't pay well. And I remember I was like a bit younger, and I just thought like, oh, your team is broke. Your league is broke.
And the sad part is you start to think about it like that, and they're like, no, they're not broke. It's just humble beginnings. Like, it is very, and I think that's what I like most about sports. You really have to work hard.
Yeah.
Work your way up for what you want. Again, don't walk in thinking. Now, if you do land something and it's like the first time you're making like $40,000 a year, that is wonderful.
Good kudos to you. God bless you and your family and your hard work.
You're going to do some grunt work, and if you're not built for it, I tell everyone, you can end up hating your career.
Yeah.
On the side of sports you're in, you have to start to think about different things. Like in events and hospitality, we're always working. Always working. It's not a conventional 9 to 5. I tell everyone that it is far from a 9 to 5. It might be like a 9 to a 7, or like a 7 to 11. Like
formally you clock out, but your phone is still going.
Yeah, or you're still working, and then you're like, okay, since I worked this weekend, I'm going to take off like a random Tuesday just to get sleep. Like, you really have to think about that. And I think the older I get, the more I now have the freedom to pick and choose my battles when it comes to that, because I'm 30. So now I'm like, okay, husband, kids, do I want to miss games? Do I want to not be there for their first words, their first steps?
Yeah.
So I've paid my dues enough to now I can
Decide.
go that route and decide what I want to do. And then if you end up with someone who understands that, or they're even in the industry, that is like a bonus. It's such a bonus, because if you get someone who doesn't understand how much you love it, ooh, you're gonna be single for a while.
Literally, a friend asked me the other day, they're like, would you date, so I'm currently single. A friend of mine, just putting it out there, but a friend of mine had said, would you date someone in your industry? And I said that, I mean, just looking at my life, I was like, I typically, like, I remember university, like, I'm working on weekends, so my friends are going out, there's parties, and I'm working on weekends, and then I'm coming, like, at the end of the party, right? But, like, he would have to either be okay with it. He would have to love sports enough that he's coming with me to the games. Like, if you want to spend time with me, like, I'm at the stadium, so you have to come. Or, yeah, preferably in the industry. But, like, do you feel the same way?
I do, because they understand it, or at least someone in an industry that's just as busy. Okay. I get asked a lot, would I ever date like an athlete? And I'm like, ooh, what about that? Maybe a retired one, not a current. There's a lot of stress that comes behind that. And I'm just not, I'd rather be stress-free.
Yeah.
I'd rather be single and stress-free than worry about when you go to LA, do I have to randomly pop up?
I'm on the shade. I'm man in the background of the video, like.
Right, like, I'm a little too old to be popping up on you, but I will if necessary.
I am from 15th Avenue. Don't play with me.
So I don't have to come out of element. Like, so I pick and choose my battles. Like, over time, yeah, because at that point, you're past, I hope you're past that phase of life. But I definitely agree, dating someone in the industry, or at least someone whose industry is just as time consuming.
Yeah.
Definitely helps bring a balance, because I know I can get very wrapped up in my work and what I do. And sometimes you need someone to bring you back, like, hey, come back for a second. You're doing a little too much. I need you to focus on you, get yourself together. You know, we got to maneuver through this.
Exactly.
And I need to be able to do vice versa. Like, if you're working too much, hey, okay, maybe we need to do a date night. We haven't seen each other in a while. So you need like a balance.
Yeah, like, you don't have to watch the game. You can always just watch the highlights. Like, you don't.
Right. And if you can watch it with me, like, let's do something.
Exactly. That is okay. I just wanted to ask, like, do you have any, like, advice for, younger women breaking into the industry, who are just sort of newer to the whole scene?
This piece of advice is, please give yourself some grace. Like, do not be discouraged if you don't get the job, you don't get the internship, or if you reach out to another woman in the industry and she doesn't respond to you. That's going to happen throughout your entire career. You're going to get an interview, but not get the job. You're going to reach out to a client or a potential client, and they're never going to respond to you. So you have to, I don't want to say you have to, well, you do have to have tough skin, but you have to give yourself some grace. Like, the worst thing you could be told in this industry is no.
Exactly.
Like, literally the worst thing somebody could tell you. No thank you, hell no, however they want to verbalize it.
Hell no, that would hurt me a bit, but yeah.
I've never been told that, and I personally so much.
I would really cry. I
feel like, excuse me? But
first of all, respectfully,
grace and use your network to your advantage. Especially Black women in this industry, we can't wait to help you.
Exactly.
We can't figure it out. Oh, we know someone who can. Like, we literally cannot wait to help you. So reach out to us on LinkedIn. If you see us on Instagram, shoot us a DM, follow us. Like, I promise you, at least for me and the people I know, you're not bothering us. You're not. Because it's one of those things I wish I did getting into the industry. Like, if I can stop you from making some of the stupid mistakes I did, and less hassle and less stress, please let me help you. Please. Your life will be a breeze, because there's some lessons you should just not have to learn. You just should not have to learn. And just put yourself out there. Really be confident in who you are, and try different things. Like I said, your friend might love ticket sales, and y'all might be besties, and then you get in ticket sales and be like, why am I here?
I hate it here.
Right, like I hate it here. So reach out to those different niches of sports, corporate marketing, partnership, sponsorship, events, operations, player development, anything. Yes. You see, we have women coaches now and women referees. Like, exactly. You never know what's going to be your thing. So just reach out and try it and research it. That is really the best advice that I could give anyone. Like, do it all.
The world is your oyster. The stadium is your oyster.
It is. It really is. And take it all in. It is the opportunity of a lifetime being in this industry. Once you're in the industry, you're in.
I'm like, no.
I saw a post that said my passport probably thinks I'm in prison. And I was like, I promise you, mine probably does. Like, ma'am, we have not been stamped. What's happening?
I feel like the next time I'm in a stadium, like watching a live game, I'll cry.
I definitely am going to cry. 1,000%
tears.
Like I will even go to a baseball game at this point. I find I would just any game.
I will watch golf, just something live action.
Anything.
Even if it's like grassroots, like house. I don't even care at this point. I just need to watch a sport live. I love talking to Black women in sports because I feel like just like this year I was like, wait, I'm not the only one. There's more.
Well, it's like when you discover like more than 3, you're like, what? We out here?
Well, y'all working in sports too? I thought it was just me. I thought I was crazy.
Like, you're not a cheerleader, girl. Let's be friends. Like that is the best thing ever.
Right? Because before I'd be like, oh yeah, I work for like I was like, I don't know if I should say I work in sports because then they'll just be like, what do you mean you work in sports? Are you a coach?
Oh yeah. My favorite is, are you a cheerleader?
Are you a cheerleader?
In my life.
They're like, what are you doing here? What do you do? And I'm like, I do what the men do. Like, what do you mean? I do what everyone does. But yeah, I was glad to see that there's more of us in the industry, and I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with the Forbes, the culture platform.
I'm really excited. I can't wait for that. Can't wait to see how Play Like a Girl Apparel grows this year. I did not expect the growth we had in 2020, but I just can't wait to see the growth this year.
I can't believe it's only a year old. I feel like
I've been doing it forever.
And I was like, yes, I've seen this before. Yes, this is me. I resonate with this.
I'm happy you love it.
Thank you. I'm definitely gonna go purchase something right after this call and just future team owner, future executive,
yes, future whatever you want to be.
I'm taking that shirt straight to my prayer closet.
Again, it's a walking vision board.
A walking vision board. I love that. That's exactly what it is. Wow. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.